Hey guys, welcome to another Sunday live stream here at Trace Trades. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you click the link in the description so you could join our Discord server and participate in these streams live every single Sunday. After we do our weekly watch list, we open the floor up to chart requests and Q&A. You do not have to be a premium member to attend, so please click the link in the description and join up next week. But to get right into the weekly watch list, first we have Apple. This chart's a little messy, so bear with me for a minute though. We have this trend line right here, this trend line coming from our original support area way back in November, being broken finally on Thursday and Friday, coming down. If we draw our fibs here from the recent local low to the local high, we have a little bit of a golden pocket here that it seems to want to hold, but again, if we start losing that 171 to like right here it says 170.80. So that 171 to 170.80 range, if we start to lose that, I'm definitely going to be looking at some Apple puts. And yeah, we'll get into the more like broad market stuff later, but in short, the broad market looks pretty shaky coming up this week. We also do have CPI reporting on Wednesday. So if you don't know what that is, it's Consumer Price Index, and basically we use it as a measure of inflation. So depending on where we actually record versus our estimations, we could see a pretty violent move in the market. This is a pretty important metric, and lots of people are expecting it to be worse than expectations, funnily enough. But in any case, really, we're just identifying subs for when the report comes out. What are we looking at now? One of the things we're looking at is an Apple short under that 171 to 170.80. If the report is good, then we could sort of confirm off this golden pocket bounce. Maybe take a long above Friday's high. That could be good because then that's also above our 0.618 level. Next we have AMD just coming down on this support. Same thing with AMD. It's gonna kind of be a waiting game to see like what this report says. If it's some good news, we could see a nice bounce off here. Probably play up back to the 8 EMA way up here at 140. That could be a good trade. Or again, like this support level here, if we break it off data, that's going to be a pretty hard flush. So we're watching this right here for shorts as well. This 130 50 cent level. Amazon again, same deal. Lots of names have the same sort of plan this week, and it's really just waiting for that report to come out, that CPI data to come out. And what our plan here is on Amazon is to take a short below, again, this little local low here, tested it twice with these two candles back in October, and that's off a bounce of a more solid level that's tested multiple times in the past. So again, we're going to take a short below this 32.36 level, and then eventually targeting this 31.84 level. Again, very simple, textbook. We're playing Momo on a downtrend break off some bad data. Amazon might get a little complicated because they do have earnings early February, and we're starting to kind of get close to where an earnings run up might matter. So again, this one is probably for bigger accounts only, especially because it's Amazon, but this looks like a very clean trade, just below this daily local low, targeting this longer term support. Very, very easy. Next we have Ford. Ford is a little different. Ford's coming off some nice momentum here, so we flip on the hourly, especially on the short term. Very nice push and like a nice little hold on Friday too, especially when everything was selling off. Ford bounced back, came up, and held these upper levels very, very well. Again, if you look at the daily, we broke this range down here from November to like end of December, and ever since January started, we've just been absolutely pushing. So if you're a little more long biased or you just feel like playing some calls, or if our market is holding up and performing pretty well, Ford is definitely a candidate to keep moving like this. This Momo looks very, very good, especially into their earnings late January. Next we have MS. Financials as a whole look pretty good right now, and I'll get into that later, but again, this looks like a very easy, structured breakout. I could have drew the bottom line here, I guess, for like a little bit more of a channel. But in any case, this is a very, very nice breakout. Looks good. Banks, they will be impacted by the CPI data just because, again, they're a part of the overall market. How many assets you hold depends on inflation, definitely. But financials as a whole look pretty strong here, and if any sector would hold up to that, to poor CPI data, I would say it's either financials or energy. Next we have Microsoft. Microsoft, a little bit of worst setup here, if I'm being completely honest. But really, what we're seeing here is on Friday we wicked down and we filled this gap that we've had ever since the end of October. That's pretty significant for Microsoft. It's been trading towards the upper end of its range for a while now. Now it's finally coming down to test the very bottom. So how it reacts here will be pretty important. And again, we could also measure to the top of the gap if we want to take calls above 316 and then shorts below 310. I think that's, again, just if you want to have a couple of things on your watch this week, if you can actively manage this trade, this is one where, the setup's there. So if the setup's there, why wouldn't we take it? Again, a little more short bias this week, so really eyeing that 310 level. But overall, calls above, puts below, we're in this like sort of gap zone here. Take these trades all the time, so I thought I would include it on the list. NVIDIA, much like AMD, coming down on a support level, and much like Microsoft, it's a gap area right here. So again, NVIDIA, since we're more short biased this week, this looks like a really good short. This 271 to like 270 area right here, if we just want to take shorts below that, I'll look to cover our first batch around like 266 because that's where about our gap ends here. Because this candle closed down here, so this is about where our gap ends. I didn't put it because it's a little crowded. And then the low of our candle is way down here, down 262, and that could be our next price target. But again, this looks just like a very easy, very structured trade. Take it below this 270, 271 level. You're shorting into a gap, so it should be very easy. Should be a very easy trade. And NVIDIA actually doesn't have that much extension from its ADMA either, so NVIDIA looks like a pretty good short going into this week especially. XLF back on these financials. Again, just sort of moving up here. Just like very easy, very calmly moving up. If we throw on the weekly, you could see like we had this nice little consolidation down. Almost hit on this 50, but we shot right back up. Again, just looks very, very good, especially the past 2 weeks. Just absolutely straight up. If we could keep this momentum going, looks really, really good. Or if we get a retest, so this like 40, this like 40.80 to like 41, like anywhere in between that. Yeah, like 40.80 to 41, something like that if we get a retest. And then like a nice strong hold, like watch it consolidate above for a bit and then start to turn back up. Definitely take this trade over all-time highs. This looks very strong in relation to the market. And so does energy, but I like the financial setup better. And then lastly is UPS. I sent a chart of this out. If we share a Discord server, I sent a chart of this out on Friday, saying I'll probably be entering next week, and that's still true. Like this looks very solid. Again, like that CPI data Wednesday is kind of throwing me off, so I might take a starter before, and then like either cut or size in after, or just wait entirely until Wednesday to get that data in, and then we can make our decisions from there. But yeah, again, really very easy weekly inverse head and shoulders going towards all-time highs. Pull out the daily, some nice higher lows here and here, retesting again these all-time highs, just looking for a break here. It's like above like 220 really if you want to level for it. Back to the broad market. SPY actually lost our 50 SMA on Friday, which that's a pretty big deal. I think that means the selling pressure is already here before like we get our CPI data. That definitely tells me that people are leaning more bearish and going into this report. But yeah, again, until we're back above this 50 SMA, I would be very, very careful with calls. Very careful. Look at how easily we could fall here. The levels of support, probably like 462 to like 460. That's probably one area, right around like here, this highlight. And then like below that, we just we really don't have much. This 459 drops off into a huge gap here. It got partially filled after, but since this candle also gapped up, like the gap's not completely filled. So again, we got this like little zone down here as well. It does not look good. It looks very, very shaky, very, very not structured at the moment. So I'd be very careful with taking longs, which is again why I went through this watch list with a little more short bias this week. And the Qs actually look a little bit better. Significant extension from the 8 EMA, so maybe a relief bounce back up is due. And also, we lost the 50 a while ago, so that's not really a big contender. Coming towards the end of its range here that it's been in for a couple months. This level right here, this 377, like 378, basically 380, honestly. This level right here is very significant. If we lose this, again, we just have a lot more downside on the table. Uh, if we extend this line, it kind of lines up the same too. So if we drop, and that line's way back, way back, way back. So if we drop down this 377, 378 level, it's pretty likely actually that we're going to break this trend line as well. And again, that's just very bearish. It's very, very bearish. I'd be looking at like low 360s like first for a trade like that. But yeah, that's what all I'm thinking for broad market. Again, going to this week, very, very bearish. But some data reports on Wednesday could completely change that. So we do have some long setups here. That's why the list is a little bit longer this week. So again, make sure you're just taking your time to manage your risk, keep it light no matter what direction you're playing. If you are going to be a little more biased, I would definitely try to lean towards the short side. I think short bias is definitely winning this week. As far as just managing your risk, maybe it will turn out to be right, maybe not. But again, it's more dependent on that CPI data. But again, I just think being short this week is a better bet. But again, that's all I have for the weekly watch list this week. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you click on the link in the description so you could join the streams live every single Sunday and just participate in the Q&A.